What's up, gamers and nerds? It's John of Video Games in the World with weekly news number 18. First of all, let us remember that this weekend we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Pokémon. Pokémon was first released in 1996, and since then it has become a worldwide phenomenon as a trading card game with a series of video games, anime, manga, and spawned tons of merchandise as well. Thank you so much to Satoshi Tajiri for the creation of such an amazing franchise that taught us the value of friendship, trust, and believing in oneself. At the end of the news, there will be a preview for a video I am making titled The Controversial History of Grand Theft Auto. Let's begin. If you're an 80s baby and a 90s kid, or a 90s baby and 2000s kid, then I am pretty sure that you all remember the video game House of the Dead in the arcades. House of the Dead is an arcade light gun shooter game that started out in 1997 and developed by Sega, the very same company behind the Sonic the Hedgehog series of games. Sega has been doing so well with the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movies, and we got a fourth movie coming next year, and I hope it's really good. Now, it turns out that there is going to be another House of the Dead movie. This can't be good. Now, why am I saying that this can be good? Because the last time there was a live-action House of the Dead movie, it totally blew. The first movie was directed by German director Uwe Boll, the very same guy who made all these video game adaptations that were a major and utter disaster, such as Alone in the Dark, Blood Rain, Postal, Dungeon Siege, and even Far Cry. How dare he? When you think of Uwe Boll making these video game adaptations, you know damn well that it's going to suck a horse's ass. Only this time, the upcoming movie is going to be behind the scenes is none other than Paul W.S. Anderson, the very same guy who wrote the live-action Resident Evil movies. The first two movies were good, but the rest sucked, as they deviated far from the source material. Another video game he adapted was Monster Hunter, which was mediocre. I won't deny that I loved his Death Race movies, something me and my dear dad saw together and enjoyed. Love you, Dad. I miss you. Rest in peace. Descansa en paz y espero que Dios esté contigo, papá. Te quiero. So, as you know, it turns out that there is going to be another House of the Dead movie with Anderson behind the scenes, and the lead actress will be none other than Isabela Merced. Isabela is well known for movies such as Transformers: The Last Night, Instant Family, Dora and the Lost City of Gold, Madame Web, Alien Romulus, and she played as Kendra Saunders, aka Hawk Girl, in Superman. This is not the first time Isabela is in a video game adaptation, because she plays Dina in the HBO adaptation of the hit video game The Last of Us. Anderson, in an interview, said the following: "The House of the Dead is a game that I have loved for many years, and I'm beyond thrilled to be bringing this to the big screen with such an exciting talent as Isabela at its heart. We envisage this as the start of a tentpole franchise which can explore the rich world and lore that Sega has created for over a whole series of films." Well, we all know how Uwe Boll screwed up with the adaptation of House of the Dead over 2 decades ago. And as for Paul W.S. Anderson being behind the scenes, I've got to say, I am very skeptical. Still, I give him credit for doing a good job directing the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie. But after how the Resident Evil movies turned out after Resident Evil Apocalypse, I am very skeptical. We shall see how it turns out when it premieres. These days in movies and TV shows, live-action adaptations of video games are all the rage. When it comes to movies and TV shows, every generation has their trend. The 1970s redefined the way movies and shows were made and how we saw them. The 1980s in terms of movies was not well liked, but a lot of amazing shows, cartoons, and sitcoms premiered. Still, you cannot deny that the 80s had some really good movies too. The 1990s was the golden age of movies and shows. The 2000s was the silver age of movies. The 2010s to present day, the age of superheroes and reboots, or as Patrick H. Willems says it best, the era of billion-dollar franchises. When it comes to live-action adaptations of video games on TV nowadays, you think of the following such as Fallout, Twisted Metal, Halo, The Last of Us, etc. Next adaptation for our flat screens is the video game God of War, which has a 2-season order. The God of War TV show will not go to its original roots of Greek mythology. Instead, it will be more centered on the 2018 video game and its sequel, God of War Ragnarok. Here's the official logline for God of War to deliver a bit more clarity. God of War follows father and son, Kratos and Atreus, as they embark on a journey to spread the ashes of their wife and mother, Faye. Through their adventures, Kratos tries to teach his son to be a better god, while Atreus tries to teach his father how to be a better human. Frederick E.O. Toye will direct the first 2 episodes of God of War, which is currently in pre-production as of December 2025. When the show was greenlit back in 2022, Rafe Judkins was on board as a showrunner. That's no longer the case. Ronald D. Moore will be in charge of the series now. Ryan Hurst will be playing as Kratos. To put you up to speed, Hurst played the voice and likeness of Thor in the video game. Mandy Patinkin will be the powerful and mighty Odin, also known as the Allfather, and will serve as an antagonist to Kratos. Max Parker of Boots fame will play as another antagonist named Heimdall. No Idris Elba as Heimdall? Too bad. Oh well, he was Heimdall in the MCU. Callum Vinson will play as Kratos' son, Atreus, who we all remember in the game when Kratos was calling him boy. Atreus is a skilled archer and will teach Kratos to be a better human, while the latter teaches him to be a better god. Ed Skrein, who played as Ajax in the 2016 movie Deadpool, will portray Baldur, who was the main antagonist in the 2018 video game. Baldur was born with a curse in which he is incapable of feeling any physical sensation, pleasure, or pain. There is no release date for the show as of now. We'll find out soon enough. Not too long ago, I spoke about the next Assassin's Creed video game title, Assassin's Creed Hexe. Here's what we know so far about this upcoming title in the franchise. It turns out that Hexe is embracing a more traditional style of Assassin's Creed, which means that it's going to be more like the old school games of the series. Nice. Hopefully they can scrap the whole RPG elements. What's also cool is that it's going to recapture the feeling of the old Assassin's Creed games. Oh yeah. This game will have a female lead named Elsa, and it's going to take place in 16th century Central Europe with the Holy Roman Empire. The studio says development will move forward with a seasoned team delivering something distinctive within the Assassin's Creed franchise. Jean Gouzdon has been appointed as a new creative director, as he previously directed Origins and Black Flag, and a lead scriptwriter with credits on Origins, Valhalla, and Mirage has joined the project as well. All I have got to say is that I'm looking forward to this. The Far Cry series is one of Ubisoft's best titles in gaming. It's a first-person shooter series of games that became very popular since 2004. Its 2012 title, Far Cry 3, became one of the greatest in the series. Many people say that it is the best in the series. Then we got Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5, and Far Cry 6, which were also successful. The Far Cry series deals with various topics such as insanity, moral ambiguity, the cycle of violence, religious fanatism, authoritarianism, and the illusion of a quote-unquote just war. And now we have a Far Cry 7 in development targeting a release for this year. According to some rumors, the game is going to be set in New England with a 72-hour countdown story. Sounds like Majora's Mask or something. Except no time travel to go back in the past. The game might feature heavy cult vibes similar to Far Cry 5, where a family of Christian fanatics have taken over a town and they rule it with an iron fist. And they drug people with a drug called Bliss. So this means you're going to have to be fast to rescue your family, and your decisions will determine who will survive. These details are based on reports and leaks, as Ubisoft has not officially confirmed any gameplay features yet. Now, if this turns out to be true, then it could be a major shift in the series. We'll find out what Ubisoft says, hopefully soon enough. And now for our main event. Chrono Trigger is the greatest RPG of all time, and way better than Final Fantasy VII in my honest opinion. It was first released in 1995 on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It was re-released in 2001 on the PlayStation alongside Final Fantasy IV as Final Fantasy Chronicles, and then in 2008 it was released on the Nintendo DS. The PS1 and DS versions have anime cutscenes that were drawn by the late Akira Toriyama, the late and legendary manga artist that brought you stories such as Dragon Ball, Dr. Slump, and he was also the artist of the Dragon Quest series of video games. Chrono Trigger tells a story of a young man named Chrono and his friends traveling across time to prevent an apocalypse caused by a powerful cosmic entity called Lavos. This game was a massive success that spawned the following sequels such as Radical Dreamers, Chrono Cross, and Chrono Break. They weren't as good in my opinion. So it turns out that Chrono Trigger is getting the remake treatment like Final Fantasy VII did. If this is true, then I hope that in the opening credits there is a dedication to the late Akira Toriyama. Also, fans are hoping it could feature a full HD 2D visual overhaul, fully orchestrated soundtrack, expanded character dialogue, modernized combat animations, and quality of life improvements such as faster traversal and updated UI. Some are even speculating about additional story content, new side quests, or enhanced time travel mechanics that deepen the impact of each timeline choice while staying faithful to the original classic. I remember when I was in my mid-teens back in 2001, and my cousin and a couple of friends of mine were telling me to play this game. I did, and I was totally blown away, being immersed in such a wonderful and epic world that is Chrono Trigger. I still remember going to websites for a playthrough before YouTube even existed. If you like Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy, you're going to love Chrono Trigger. It has amazing gameplay, music, story, graphics, and if you're playing the PS1 or DS versions, you're going to love the anime cutscenes and the music. The game highlights the importance of preserving the past, acting with integrity, and highlights that humanity's hope lies in combining technological progress with wisdom and environmental responsibility. And now, here's a preview of the upcoming video, The Controversies of Grand Theft Auto. The title of the game Grand Theft Auto is a reference to the felony involving the theft of motor vehicles. This series was created by David Jones and Mike Daly, and later games would be overseen by brothers Dan and Sam Houser, Leslie Benzies, and Aaron Garbett. It was developed by DMA Design, which is now known as Rockstar North, and published by its parent company, Rockstar Games, in 1997. The game first started out from a top-down 2D video game and evolved into a pioneering 3D open-world phenomenon later on. Before Grand Theft Auto, DMA Design was developing a game called Race and Chase, which was a cops and robbers concept of gameplay with an overhead top-down 2D video game in which players played as police officers chasing criminals. Unfortunately, the developers would realize that the game was dull and the concept of being a police officer was not going to please everyone. The game would also crash constantly, the cars were handled poorly, and most significantly, it was dull and boring. But then, opportunity knocked when developers discovered a glitch in the game where the higher the wanted level was, the more aggressive the cops would get in pursuing criminals. the developers will fall in love with the chaos and destruction that resulted in, and recreated a concept where driving at high speeds, performing stunt drives, carjacking, and running over pedestrians was valued over abiding by the rules of the road. What was originally a game of cops and robbers, it became robbers and cops. And so, what was called Race and Chase became the game we all know today as Grand Theft Auto. Despite being set in America, the game was supposed to be set in London, UK first. However, the game was in 32-bit graphics with a top-down perspective, and developers feared that it would not sell so well, especially since video games evolved from sprites and into 3D with games like Tomb Raider and Super Mario 64, which grew in popularity at the time. Although the first GTA game was sprite rendered, it will become quite popular. And that's it for the weekly news, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share with everyone you know. Follow me on Patreon, link in the description. This is John of Video Games in the World signing off. Have a good one. Bye-bye.